Sarah Gates, and I am the owner here at Kingsland Printing. I really like the process. I know a lot of printmakers, I feel like, don't like screen printing and like other print forms, but there's something about the process that I really like. A client usually will email me with their project. I try to get as much information from them as I can before we give a quote. We do all custom quotes because we do such a wide variety of projects. And then once we settle on the image, the price, everything, they'll email me a final image, which gets printed out here either through Photoshop or Illustrator. We print everything onto this clear transparency film, which is what we make the screens with, and then take it out there and start to get the screen ready.
So it's basically just measuring it down. This is the background image, and then this is the foreground image. Usually just throw one image on one screen, burn it, and then go on to the next screen. So one of these we will leave in here so it doesn't get exposed. This is the exposure unit. This right here is the light, and this is the vacuum. And it basically the light shoots through the glass and exposes the screen. And I'll show you how that's done right now. This has a vacuum in it, so it holds the screen on it and still. It's basically like a photo process.
The first thing I ever printed was in my kitchen in Berkeley. I went to the art store and I bought a speedball do-it-yourself kit from the art store, and I had screen printed an image that I had drawn onto some paper in my kitchen. It's not that magnificent, but I guess that was the start of it all.
So then you take the transparency off. Bring it to the washout booth. It's becoming white, and that's basically the emulsion that was under the black getting pushed through the screen. And that's the image on the screen.
We were having the hardest time picking a name. It seemed like absolutely nothing was good, and everything I liked, my partner hated, and everything he liked, I hated. And it got to a point where we had to register ourselves as an LLC, and the only thing holding us back was that we didn't have a name. So it literally came down to, oh my god, we just have to pick something. But now I kind of like it. I actually never thought I'd be here at this space this long, so I thought once I moved, it would just be a name that sounded fine. But Kingsland Printing on Kingsland Ave.
So this is the prepping of the screen. This is where we basically look, and if there's any pinholes, like areas where we don't want ink to go through, we clog that up. We always take the edges to prevent leaks from the side, because there's parts where the emulsion doesn't hit on the side.
I really like screen printing that's used in more experimental ways. Like you can screen print, you know, it doesn't have to be on a flat surface on a press. You know, you can take little screens. There's artists that screen print around on walls, and you know, we've done some stuff where you screen print it on the wall, like wallpaper almost. I think I'm just really interested in pushing the limits of what you can do with it.
We mostly use water-based ink, which is all. This is what you see here, but we also use discharge ink, which is a water-based ink that is a chemical process that you would want to use on dark fabric to get it really bright. Instead of building up a thick base of ink, the discharge will actually bleach out the fabric and put in a pigment, replace the fabric with a pigment, or just keep it white.
When I initially started it, I honestly didn't have much of a vision. It was sort of one of those things that just was kind of put in my lap, and I just started working on. And I honestly, at first, didn't think so much about it being my company or a career, or it was just sort of something that I was doing. And then as it went on and realized that, you know, we were doing well and we could make money off of this. And I had a vision of, you know, having a really creative, artistic-based studio.
We got the screens ready. It's time to get them on the press and start printing.
When I was still in grad school, we started working for Trouble Man Records. They were the first ones to buy us our first press and set us up with this. So we started printing for the bands on their record label to begin with.
Now that I have the center line, this image has a center point to it, so I can just line this up.
I don't remember exactly why, but I started to really want to learn how to screen print. And my roommate at the time was enrolled full-time at CCAC, and I went with her and got into an intro to screen printing class.
Each screen is dedicated to its own color, because screen printing is like spot coloring. So, like, there'll be a red screen and a yellow screen. So each screen is dedicated to their own color, so they need to be lined up all ahead of time so they can be printed on the garment together.
We definitely do. I think most print shops have their own style. You know, we have certain inks we like using. When clients don't tell you exactly what you want, we have a standard that we go to, and we tend to do more water-based and discharge printing, which has more of a softer feel. We don't do a lot of the kind of the plastisol, kind of thicker, you know, heavy graphics on shirts. So it definitely is an aesthetic, and we can meet whatever aesthetic the client wants. But I guess I think we do have one on our own.
So I'm flooding the screen, which is just putting ink over where I'm going to pull. And now I'm actually going to pull the squeegee that's actually going to print on the t-shirt. So this is the screen printing. And as you can see, it's perfect, it's clear. And this discharge is heat activated. So once I bring it over to the flash drive, you're going to see it change color. And you can see that it's heating up and actually it's actually discharging.
We do repeat yardage printing here, which is something that a lot of print shops don't do. We print up to 45 inches wide and in 5-yard sections on really large screens, and that's what a lot of fashion designers will use to create, you know, all over print garments. We also do a lot of large-scale printing with artists. We'll go into their studio, we'll print on panels, we'll print on canvas. I've always been more of an artist and a painter and a screen printer than an actual printmaker, and I started this because I loved screen printing and because it's what I did in my own work. So I think that we approach projects not from a business point of view, but from an artistic point of view, and as a creative collaboration with people. So we really try to take the time to work with them to find out exactly what they want, to test out different inks, you know, test out their different materials, and really try to help them, you know, create exactly what they want to create. My new vision, it's pretty similar to the old vision. I think what I've been focusing on now is just more the financial and business aspect of things, because being an artist and going to art school, that's never anything I ever thought about, ever. So I think for the first several years that I did this, I was thinking about working on projects and making things and working with people. And now I think I realized that if I want to keep doing that, I need to be smart about the business aspect of it so I can keep making things. So it's not necessarily a new vision, it's just dealing with a different aspect of it. Cooking Gates was my friend Ethan Cook, a few years ago realized that we were just working on similar things in our studios. We'd both started dyeing canvas and making all these different patterns, and then that kind of turned into, well, let's make a product.
I like working here. We joke around a lot, mess with each other. It's a fun working environment.
It's a nice environment to work with your